very backbone of a flourishing economy is infrastructure. And the government's focus in this sector over the past decade has been a key driver of India's growth. It's already a fascinating success story, but the thing is, there's a lot more to come. Rapid advancement in mechanization and technology are fueling a transformation in the infrastructure industry. Hello and welcome to this special broadcast on NDTV, Constructing the Future of Viksit Bharat, powered by bauma CONEXPO India. To talk about the phenomenal opportunities that the sector has to offer, I'm joined by Dimitrov Krishnan, the chairman of bauma CONEXPO India, and he's an immediate past president of ICEMA and the managing director of Volvo CE India. We've also got Vinayak Pai, managing director and chief executive officer of Tata Projects and president of the Construction Federation of India. And finally, Bhupinder Singh, who's the chief executive officer of mechanisation India. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting and very insightful conversation. Mr. Pai, let me start with you, because ultimately when we talk about Viksit Bharat, one of the most important aspects of the drive towards that point is infrastructure. Everybody is speaking about it, but what does that entail?
I think infrastructure is one of the key building blocks of the economy today. I think you would have seen world over how the US developed infrastructure in the 50s and how China did it in the 90s. These are all examples of how infrastructure can be the driver of economic growth. And if you look at India, we are on the similar journey, maybe on steroids in a way, because the amount of infrastructure which is happening is almost 8 to 10% of the GDP every year. That's what this industry is about. So, there's a great opportunity. So I would say economic development is the key, on which infrastructure is riding. Primarily because, it helps India become a manufacturing economy also, because for the manufacturing to be more effective, great infrastructure is a prerequisite. So I would say that that's something we need to relate to the overall economic growth. The second is quality of life, right? As we become, or as we aspire to become a $10 trillion economy and advanced economy, the quality of life has to improve. If you look at all the developed nations, the quality of life is much better. So that's the other aspect of infrastructure which is very critical as improving the quality of life for every Indian. And finally, the impact on national security.
I'm glad that you pointed all of those things out, because the layperson, when they talk about infrastructure, is usually thinking about the road that they're traveling on. But there's so much more than that. And the way that this infrastructure is now getting built up, it's very different from what it was even 10, 15, 20 years back. How does that change the aspect of infrastructure as we look at it today?
Infrastructure we've been building as a nation for many years. But with the clear goal of Viksit Bharat 2047 that the government has put for the country, which is largely acknowledged as an achievable goal, the whole story around infrastructure and how infrastructure is going to develop in this country has changed. Because if you want to, as Vinayak mentioned, if you want a developed country, you need to have infrastructure that can actually support it. So to be Viksit in 2047, we need infrastructure 10 years ahead.
Yes.
20 years ago, we were more driven by project-based, mega project-based infrastructure. One project like Golden Quadrilateral or the East-West, North-South corridor. These kind of projects actually drove what was happening for infrastructure. So when you're looking at a 2037 infrastructure ready for taking off this economy towards a developed nation, everything has changed. And that has put new requirements. And now if I come to your question, what are those requirements? Those requirements are timelines. The timelines are shrinking. We need to do projects faster. Quality, the quality of execution and finish expected by consumers, which is our citizens, has changed, right? And of course, safety. And when I say safety and sustainability together, that how safe are we building the infrastructure? How safe is the infrastructure in itself? Secondly, I spoke about safety and sustainability. We have also set a goal of net zero country by 2070. To achieve that, we have to start today. So obviously, when we in Volvo, we launched electric loader in the previous edition of bauma CONEXPO in January of 2023. We thought we will be the only one who will be there, and it was not. It was five brands who came with electric products to market, And in the last 1.5 years, we've seen how electric is getting adopted. It's early stage. And the third thing is the way the quality demands. The several types of new equipment are coming into play for delivering the quality in terms of curb laying machines or in terms of how the work is being done, how the finish will be achieved, whether it's even for painting the roads. Today we are seeing different types of equipment being deployed for work.
It's more efficient.
More efficient and more safer. I mean, there's one particular product which has just taken off in the industry is aerial work platforms, working in high places. We used to use scaffolding to reach high places.
Yes.
Today, scaffolding is not preferred because it basically takes time to do it. And you have aerial work platforms with which you can reach the position of work very easily and very safely. So this is the kind of change that is happening on the technology side when it comes to, of course it's not all, but there is more to it. But this is some of the glimpse of what is happening.
So the demands of the industry have also shifted along with the demands of infrastructure itself. And of course, there are buyers and sellers in the infrastructure space, and that's where you come in. You bring all of them together and try to help there to be a common ground or common understanding of what is required by the industry and to provide that opportunity to come to that common point. Can you give me examples of how you facilitated this over a period of time?
Sure. So good evening, Alex. Thanks for having us. I would just add quickly to what DK said and what Mr. Pai mentioned. So, and I say this all the time that our infrastructure is the backbone of our economy, and that goes to explain why Government of India has committed $1.5 trillion to the infrastructure modernization. Now, how do you do that? You do it with efficient, cutting-edge technologies, and you do it with collaboration all across the board, right? Look at this example of what Mr. Pai mentioned and also what DK mentioned. Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, which is supposed to cut down your travel time from 24 hours to 12 hours.
Yeah.
Or look at the Chenab Bridge, which is the, one of the tallest bridges, taller than Eiffel Tower, right? Now, these are not just engineering marvels. What they tell us is that when technology, cooperation, collaboration, and smart planning join forces, such projects are possible. As long as there is alignment. Now, is the alignment always possible? It's not easy because, in all these projects, and I think DK would agree, there are a lot of complications. There are a lot of moving pieces, right? You have impact on the local communities. You have cost escalations. You have project delays. You have technology dependence, technology evolution. And that's exactly where bauma CONEXPO India comes into the picture, right? We are a platform where we bring the entire ecosystem at one place under one roof, which includes government, both on the center side and the state side, which includes the industry, both from demand and supply side, and which also includes the academia and all the industry associations. And take on all these topics head on, So bauma CONEXPO India is a platform where ideas turn into action, and us, along with the industry, take those baby steps which are needed to pave the way for a Viksit Bharat.
And usually the best way to progress is through incremental change, and I think that is true for most industries. But when you were talking about certain advancements, Mr. Pai, why don't you give us examples of how this has panned out and how certain demands have been met from the buyer's standpoint, and they've probably seen the effect of that mechanization and that improvement in technology take place?
The technologies which are coming up and how the timelines are getting crunched.
Yeah.
I mean, we are doing a greenfield airport in Noida, and the timeline is 2.5 years. It's not been done globally. It takes 4 to 5 years, and we are doing a semiconductor project which has to be done in 18 months, and the global averages we all know. So, the speed at which all this has to be done puts a lot of pressure, right? And that's how I think everyone coming together is very important, because everyone is doing technological advancements to meet this requirement. We are doing, as a construction and EPC industry, we are doing technological advancements. But sitting on the CFI as the president, we always think that the equipment manufacturers are actually taking technology to a much higher level, which is good for us because we can leverage all the advancements which they are doing. But also sustainability and technology are the key drivers for us. as an industry, and when we look at our supply chain as well. Today, with the speed at which it has to happen, we have to be getting insights on when every machine starts, and what is the efficiency of that, how much is the productivity of that, and for that using technologies on the same platform is very important. So today I think it's very critical, as we are moving forward at speed, is to think how can we think beyond the basics of quality, cost, and reliability, but also think about technology, sustainability, AI, and what tools can help us meet what we have to collectively do in the interest of Viksit Bharat.
So there's clearly a demand from the industry, how they want to be more efficient, how they want to be more sustainable. How do you facilitate that, and what are the kind of developments that you're taking up to facilitate that?
So when it comes to the construction equipment industry, firstly, we have an association called Indian Construction Equipment Manufacturers Association that really brings all stakeholders from the product side, from the equipment side, to try and create an ecosystem that really is sustainable itself. For example, we work with the government when it comes to since we have to achieve a net zero carbon goal by 2070, there is also a roadmap towards regulating the emissions on our products. So we as an association work on that. But as manufacturers, we bring the best of technology that's available, which is built, which is not just engineered in India, but also engineered elsewhere in the world. I think one other thing which is happening is that, it was very well emphasized by Bhupinder here that, in this journey, various stakeholders have to come together. So platforms like bauma CONEXPO is also a place where different associations come together.
Yes.
It's not only the manufacturers and buyers, it's also associations come and deliberate on topics. We have conferences where we discuss the emerging changes that is going to happen, where users come from their side, put their demands, and then the manufacturers come and say, okay, this is what is happening, this is the latest happening. Yeah. And there are deliberations that also set new trends. And where generally we have a good participation from the government, from the ministries, whether it's road ministry or Ministry of Heavy Industries, they come and participate and they understand what's going on. And being in Delhi, we also get a good chance to showcase everything firsthand to policymakers who otherwise are mostly in offices, right? They're making decisions without really understanding the ground reality.
Bhupinder, come in on that, because what I'm getting from this conversation so far is that a lot emerges from this dialogue. There are solutions that might not have been tried, but when you speak to enough people and when they've seen the proof of concept and you've spoken to them, then it emerges and it catches fire, right? So give me more examples of how solutions have emerged and have gotten propagated from these expos.
Sure. So you heard the demand and supply side already, right?
Yes.
And just a bit of overview of what is bauma. So bauma as an exhibition started in Germany in 1954. So it's been 70 years and counting. It is the largest exhibition on the planet. So just to give you a size idea, it's 86 football stadiums put together. That's the kind of showcase we are talking about. Now bauma CONEXPO India is one of the leading exhibitions, one of the biggest exhibitions in the country on construction technologies. This year we are looking to welcome 75,000 participants from over 100 countries. So that highlights the global stature the show has. But more than the scale and the size of the show, or the light and sound aspect of the show, what really defines success for us is that how well do I understand the participants' outcomes that they want to cause, their objectives with which they come to participate. Like DK mentioned, I want to understand what keeps Mr. Pai and DK awake at night.
Yes.
And for us, we invest a significant amount of time getting to know that. So on a strategic level, I think we have to also keep in mind that Indian market is no more a local market.
Yes.
It's a international marketplace. It's producing for the world. And correct me if I'm wrong, DK, we are exporting to more than 100 countries. So the solutions and the challenges that we are talking about are no more only local challenges and solutions. So they have to be seen from the perspective and lens of international market. Now this is on a strategic level. On a more operational level, see, what does a demand side or a supply side gets after participating at the show? So, for the supply side, they get to meet the decision makers. They get access to new business, new customers. They get to refine their product offering to the market and stay abreast with the fast changing customer needs. On the demand side, I think it's a wide buffet of services and solutions and technology at display, so they can pick what best suits their needs. And I think together, collectively, that's where I feel bauma CONEXPO India plays a very vital role, in really getting inside the details of what are the global trends, what are the key topics, and how do we effectively, address them through our exhibition, through technical seminars, through buyer-seller. To give you an example, this year we are hosting around 7,000 buyer-seller meetings, which are pre-scheduled on site. So, and that's very close to what we, why we survive as an exhibition company, and that's to enable meaningful handshakes to unlock business opportunities.
And huge projects, I would think, also emerge from this and fructify. We have to slip into a very quick break on this at this moment, gentlemen, but we'll be back on the other side to talk about the key takeaways and the path forward. We spoke about some of the opportunities, but how are we going to get to that Viksit Bharat moment for India? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome back. You're watching Constructing the Future of Viksit Bharat, powered by bauma CONEXPO India. And we've had a fantastic conversation so far. But to round things up and to give you a perspective of where we're headed, how we're going to reach there, let me ask the panelists here to give me their take in 1 minute each of what you think is going to be required for that 2047 moment to take place. Mr. Pai, you first.
I think we have to build at scale and we have to build sustainably. I think these are the two critical elements, and we have to build at world-class quality. And when that has to happen, it can't happen by individuals. And sustainability is key, right? Because, the spaces which we are doing, if we are in denial that, sustainability has nothing to do with this industry, it's someone else's problem, it's a problem, right? So first is accepting that and taking it head on. And then having an ecosystem of partners who can all collectively contribute to making this real, right? And then how can we come together in forums like this to really brainstorm on what each one of us needs to drive to make this, whole industry a shining light for India?
It's going to be tough to match that, because that was a very, very good answer. But I'm still going to throw it to you.
I will just add on to what Vinayak said. I think we have the capability of thinking about infrastructure now. We have the people to design it. We have technology to deploy machines to do the work. But most critically of all this is people. The skills we need in people to actually put all of this together. I think for me, I would say, building an ecosystem of infrastructure needs people who are very skilled at using the equipment and also delivering the technology of construction that is required. And I think in this regard, our industry is also working pretty hard with the skilling ecosystem, and we have a council on skilling for infrastructure equipment. And I would like to see also that we give more focus on skilling of our people so that we can deliver the products and also the infrastructure that the country deserves.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bhupinder, but I would think collaboration is going to be something that you absolutely would want to focus on. So why don't you tell me what you think?
So I feel that as a platform, bauma CONEXPO India plays a very vital role in paving the way towards the Viksit Bharat. I think the mission is very, very clear. We know there is some distance to cover. And I would also like to take this opportunity to tell your audience, that whether you are part of the construction industry, whether you are thinking to get inside construction industry, or whether you are in the realm of startups who are thinking to solve some problems for the construction industry, please do register. Come to bauma CONEXPO India. It's much more than a trade fair. It's not just technology on display. It's a lot of meaningful conversations happening all across with demo areas, buyer-seller meets, and a wealth of knowledge through conferences. So I think overall, bauma CONEXPO India does a fantastic job in putting the light and sound around this idea, which is called Viksit Bharat. And I think we know the goal. The goal is clear. We just have to take some steps together towards it.
On that note, thank you so much, Bhupinder, as well as you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining in for that lovely perspective on the infrastructure space. Exciting times for the infrastructure industry and certainly for India as a whole. Lots coming up, so do stay tuned. This is NDTV.